Really grateful. Oh, we're now on. So thanks. We're really grateful to be interviewing Bob Mayer this afternoon. Fantastic author, and also, of course, a coach, and writes a lot about publishing and about self-publishing and hybrid publishing. And it's really fantastic to have him here. So hi, Bob. Hi.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Hi. So it'd be great to start just a little bit about your writing course, Right on the River, and just to ask a little bit about sort of what it is, how it's going, and yeah.
I've been doing writing workshops for a number of years, and I used to hold small, intimate workshops at various bed and breakfasts and hotels. And once my wife and I moved here to Tennessee, we're on the Tennessee River. We've got a nice big house. So what we do is a couple times a year we bring 4 writers in for the weekend, and we just sit down and we work with them on their books. So I actually weekend after this, I've got 4 people coming in here.
Oh, great, cool. And so you work on them on all sorts of things about their writing and you know, structure and character development, or is it that type of thing?
I change it for every group because every group's a little different. So, I mean, I've had #1 New York Times bestsellers here. I've had, usually it's published authors with some experience, but occasionally I've had a new author. We usually spend a lot of time on the idea and conflict lock. And then usually by the second day, we spend a lot of time talking about the business because so many things are up in flux right now in the business. And a lot of authors, even established authors, are wondering, you know, should I become a hybrid author? Should I keep traditionally publishing? Should I self-publish? One of our authors, Jennifer Probst, came down here for the weekend. While she's still traditionally published, we're also publishing her at Cool Gus, so she's become a hybrid author.
Yeah, yeah. That's one of the things which it'd be great for you just to tell a few of our readers about your position currently with being a hybrid author, obviously having published a lot in different ways, and if you could just tell us a bit more about that.
Well, I was published by New York for 42 books, Random House, St. Martin's, Putnam Berkeley, all the big houses. Then I went self-publishing because I had a huge backlist I owned the rights to. I formed my own publishing company, Cool Gus. And then I knew this from the very beginning. What I wanted was I signed a contract with 47 North, which is Amazon's science fiction imprint. And the main reason I did that is because of their marketing capabilities. They have tremendous power to market you on their site. So right now I fluctuate between, right now I'm writing a book that we're going to publish May 5th. I'm getting a book back today from 47 North that's due out in August for editing. So I alternate between writing a science fiction book for Amazon and writing thrillers for my own company.
Yeah, what's it specifically about their marketing which is really interesting to you?
They just have reach. You know, they call it merchandising, and if they give you, you know, people talk about the Kindle Daily Deal, but a lot of times, a lot of their marketing is simply they know who the readers are. They have huge databases. They know everyone who's bought one of your previous books, so they can send them an email. They also do pricing. You know, I know in the UK, one of their pricing things is a book for £1. You know, they pick a number of titles and they promote those. So there is a huge difference. You can see it sales-wise when any of these platforms, whether it's Amazon, Apple, Audible, ACX, gives you some merchandising, your sales can skyrocket.
Really? Yeah, just because of their reach. And I mean, they send a lot of emails out. Do you find that also, I mean, email lists, when we speak to authors, a lot of them say that spending the time on building that up really helps them because it's already an interested market, an audience.
Yeah, we're doing that. We don't send many newsletters out because I feel like people get bombarded with them, but we're focused on building our newsletter this year, our list. The other thing we have is we have a private Facebook group called the A-Team. I think we've got about 30 people in there. Romance for authors call it their street team, but these are people who really like my books, and it's just, you know, a small intimate group where we chat about things and I give them information about what I'm writing. Because you can get a core of 40, 50 readers who talk about you and promote you. That's huge. The book just came out yesterday, and already I've gotten you know, a handful of reviews, mainly from those type of people.
Yeah, I like that idea of nurturing a really sort of relatively small but dedicated core fan group, because they're ones which are really going to be able to reach out to you and that you can have a personal connection to, I guess.
Yeah, the most important thing is readers. You know, you can have, I mean, I've got a huge Twitter following, but I don't really think that sells books. I don't think a huge Facebook following sells books. It doesn't hurt. But I think if you can, the distance between me and my readers is the internet. So if I can communicate with them, I respond to every email I get. Even if someone mentions me on Twitter, I respond to it because I think that's key.
Yeah, no, I think it's really interesting. We often talk about so much. There's a lot of resistance in the publishing industry in terms of change, and I think I sometimes think that's because so much of it doesn't change. You know, essentially, it's always going to be about great content, always going to be about great writing, but of course, many things are. And I was just wondering, over the past year or so, are there any models or new ways that are really interesting to you? I mean, you've spoken about subscription models in the past and things like that. I mean, is there anything that's caught your eye recently in terms of that?
Subscription's big. Kindle Unlimited, a lot of people are blaming it for sales dropping, but I think the Kindle Unlimited occurred at the same time the content flood hit the ebook market. There's just so much content out there, and that's not going away. We don't fight those things. We actually, yesterday, we just got a check from, I think, Draft to Digital, where we're in Script D, a subscription model. We use those things. We use Kindle Unlimited. I broke one of my nonfiction books into 15 shorts dedicated totally to Kindle Unlimited. So I think writers waste a lot of time fighting, tilting at windmills they can't change. What they need to look at is the publishing landscape and use everything out there to the best of their abilities.
Yeah, and I guess also think about what could change in the future, like anticipate change much more than they probably do.
Yeah, and if anybody could tell me where we're going to be a year from now. I mean, it does always come back to content, though. I almost feel like we've come full circle in that the good thing is I really do think if you write a good book, that's a big part of the thing, and then you do have to get out there and reach the readers. The readers have to know the book exists.
Yeah, sure. And you're still excited, as excited as you are about this sort of era of publishing? I mean, you've said in the past that it's the one you're most excited to be a part of in a way, because the author has control, essentially.
Absolutely. I mean, what I'm doing right now didn't exist 10 years ago. I mean, 10 years ago, I would hold the rights to 50 books and be able to do absolutely nothing with them. I wouldn't be able to sell them to anybody. I couldn't get them in a bookstore. Now they're in bookstores, virtual bookstores. I can sell them to readers. And, you know, one of our sayings is, if you haven't read it, it's not backlist.
Yeah.
Last night I was reading my first book from 1991, and I'm going, geez, I don't even remember reading this, but I realized someone reading it now, you know, to them it's a brand new book.
Yeah, no, sure. And so much of what we're interested in at the moment is also how publishing is relating to other media. You know, people always talk about how it's sometimes conflicting or complementing with other media, either, you know, it can be cable TV or movies or games or others. And I think it's really interesting how the writing on TV is really excellent now, but also that I think a lot of readers can probably learn from the way that they market. Maybe you had a comment around that, you know, that you can market
of television. Yeah, people. Yeah. I see these writers go, kill your TV, and I'm like, no, that's all my wife and I do in the evening. And, you know, I go upstairs to the bedroom. We get our 2 dogs, and she controls the remote. I watch whatever she tells me to, but we watch and the writing is fantastic. There's such good writing, especially on the cable channels now, that you can learn so much. But marketing-wise, if you look at what Netflix did with the Kevin Spacey show, where they released it all on the same day, I think that's something to think about. People want instant gratification now. It used to be in traditional publishing, give us a book a year. Literally, I had to write under 3 pen names because they would not allow me to publish faster than a book a year. Now you can't publish fast enough. You can't write fast enough to keep up with the demand from readers.
Maybe it's also that you can experiment with publishing lots at once and then getting a core reader group and then sort of changing that, maybe slowing it down or creating some anticipation for the next one and sort of experimenting in that way, maybe.
Yeah, one thing we're doing is we're putting out probably a book every 3 months this year, and what I'm doing personally is I'm wrapping all my books together. I just had a book come out yesterday that loops back to my Atlantis series, an earlier series. So what I'm doing is connecting the dots over 25 years of books, where at the end of the book I go to the reader, well, if you want to know more about this character, go to this series. If you want to know more about this world, go to this series. I think that gives readers more options to get into backstory.
Yeah, because, I mean, your content's now always out there, and so you can always, I mean, a book doesn't become old. You know, you can always just bring back one which you'd written a long time ago and link it towards what you're doing now. I think that's a really good idea.
Well, one thing we always
Yeah.
talk about, my business partner Jen Talty and I, is that an ebook is not like a print book. It's very, very different. It's organic. It's changing. We have to go in. We have so many titles that when we bring out a new book, we have to go into the back of all our old books and change all the links in it. We have to change the metadata. I mean, yesterday I was emailing my partner because my new book yesterday was The Time Patrol. I said, by the way, are these other books, do they have a subgenre on Amazon of time travel, which is actually a bestseller list? And she was like, yes, I've already taken care of that. It's just constant. And I think that's caught traditional publishers a little by surprise because they're used to the fire and forget method. We published a book, there it is, you hold it, it's out there. It's never going to change. An ebook changes constantly. I'm not talking necessarily the content, although you can do that, but all the things around it. You can change the cover, you can change the end matter, you can change the metadata. So it's a constant churning of things.
Have you worked with changing the cover? Because that's quite an interesting idea, I guess, that you just try another route and see if it works. Is that something you've explored?
Oh yeah, we've changed covers. We see there's an evolution in covers. You see things changing. Sometimes we feel like actually you have to change covers sometimes. Like on Amazon, there are certain promotional things you can't get into if you have things like a gun on the cover because of the way they market. Which I totally understand. People complain about it. I know why they're doing it that way.
Yeah.
But we had to take books and remove like a soldier with a gun and do something else with it simply to get in these marketing programs.
I think it's endlessly fascinating how also in different countries, different covers just work and different ones just don't work. And if you have a look at them all on a big table, it's really, I think you can learn a lot about just individual countries by the book covers they like.
I used to have books from, I think it was Italy, where there was always a woman, a scantily clad woman on the cover and with an atomic blast in the background. I'm like, there was no woman in a bikini in the book. They just stick it there because that's what sells.
Yeah, no, I think it's really interesting. I mean, the other topic I'd love to ask you about is essentially, so much of indie publishing seems to require a certain type of author at the moment. Of course, they're entrepreneurial, someone who can effectively manage their own business. This is, of course, very well known amongst a lot of indie writers. Do you think that's going to change, or do you think it's something that can incorporate other types of writers that are perhaps not necessarily entrepreneurial in the future, but still want to hold control and get the best of indie writers?
Well, that's sort of what we do at Cool Gus. The handful of authors we work with, we have an Australian named Colin Falconer. Now, he's an international best-selling author. They just want to write. Yet they want the freedom. So what we do is we take care of all the things for them, but we give them final say. So they don't have to get caught up in the actual doing of it, but we like for covers, we'll say, what do you want on your cover? And Jen will work up cover designs for them, and ultimately they get the final say on that. They get the final say on cover copy. They get the final say on everything. So I think that's a different business model.
Yeah, and I guess also having people behind them so that they have sort of a team, that they don't miss it. Otherwise they're just going to be on their own and perhaps find it kind of scary. I think it's,
Yeah, I think it's really, really hard to do it all alone. I mean, there are people doing it, but it helps to just be able to shoot an email off to somebody and say, please take care of this, and trust that they'll be done.
Yeah, and where do you think agents fit in, or where do you think they may develop in the future, or their role?
I think agents are evolving. I mean, Kristen Nelson, who works with Hugh Howey, she's an example of an agent that's really changed the way she looks at things. And I actually think, traditional publishing is not going to die. It's evolving. They're learning. They're changing. They're adapting. I'm querying agents right now simply because I need help with foreign rights on my own. Since I don't really want to travel over to the London Book Fair or the all those things. I need an agent to take care of those things for me.
Yeah. I guess we realize also that publishing is the reason why it's so great is because it's also actually very interesting, very complex industry. I mean, there are so many different things to be doing, and I think a lot of agents will fill roles and will adapt accordingly. I guess in the future. Yeah. Also, I just wanted to ask you about sort of what you're excited about maybe in the next sort of couple of years in terms of indie publishing and the hybrid publishing, or what you're looking at experimenting with.
Actually, for me, it's more about the creative part. I mean, I've been doing it so long that what I realize is, I can produce better books faster, and the market is there for it. I mean, I have so many series going, and at the same time, I can put new experimental things out there, and I don't have to sit ever and worry, will my agent like it? Will the editor like it? Will the publisher like it? Will the sales force think they can sell it? All I got to care about is will the readers like it? And I don't think that's going to change, and that I like, that I can directly reach my readers, and either they hit that buy button or they don't, and that tells me if it's working or not.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really great message to send out to our readers, really inspiring. And thanks so much. It's great to talk to you, and best of luck with it all. And yeah, we will be checking you out in the future, I'm sure. Thanks.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Good.